Hey FTM Transtastic, my name is Luke. So this week's topic is what inspires us the most for my life as a person. The things that really inspire me the most are just that I get to be the person that I envisioned I was going to be. In the past, I was so sure that someone else was going to have to be the person I needed, but I know now that I'm the person that I needed, and I'm here, and I'm doing what I need to do, and although I can't go back in time and be like, oh, things are going to be okay, things are going to be great, I'm able to sort of retrospectively heal myself. And back then, I had so much hope for my future. I had so much riding on that my life was going to be great, and that, I was going to be happy, and that I was going to be able to transition, I was going to do all of these things. And throughout my entire transition, I've always had that hope that things are going to get better, and that's literally what's been keeping me holding on. I'm about to come up to like the end of my transition, and I've been transitioning and living as myself for such a long time that what inspires me to keep going is knowing that, that dream of having a life that I wanted to have when I was 16, that's obtainable now. I'm able to have a family, I'm able to have kids, I'm able to, be successful, and I'm able to be the person I wanted to be, and transition isn't hindering that anymore. That's what inspires me the most to move forward, that I know that nothing can stop me now, that I have gotten to the point where I've beaten all of the obstacles that I thought were going to stop me from getting to where I need to be, and I'm still here, and so nothing can stop me now. And obviously that's not just alone, like I have definitely had a lot of help from my family and my friends, and obviously my partner Maddie. They've supported me over the past few years so much. They've taught me so much about unconditional love and what you can do if you have people behind you that support you, and I'm so grateful for that. So that really inspires me. I know how much they believe in me and how much they make me see that I can believe in myself on a personal level, but also like going into my next point professionally as well. I've mentioned this a couple times, I haven't mentioned specifically, but I want to be a doctor and I want to specialize in primary trans care. A general practitioner that specializes in trans people and, organizes hormones and things like that. In Melbourne, there are lots of clinics. I basically want to work at one of those clinics. So that's sort of my goal professionally, and that's been my goal for as long as I remember, and I know exactly why. In 2012, when I was 15 years old, I was really confused. I was questioning my gender. I booked in to see a doctor to try and get referred to the only specialist that was in Adelaide at the time, a psychiatrist, in order to be assessed for gender dysphoria. I knew I was trans, but I needed a diagnosis, and I wanted to be able to go forward and make steps in my transition when that really was not possible back then. In 2013, 2012, kids weren't transitioning underage. It was really rare, particularly in Australia. And so I kind of didn't have any hope for that. I wasn't expecting to be able to transition, but I wanted to get my life on track to the point where I'd been diagnosed, where I had everything all sorted so I could start hormones as soon as I turned 18. That was my aim, and that's ended up what I ended up doing. I went to a doctor in 2012, and I went in and I explained that I'm transgender and that I want to be referred to this psychiatrist because this psychiatrist specializes in gender dysphoria. I don't care if you don't understand gender dysphoria or anything like that, but this is the guy I need to see. There aren't many professionals in this field in Adelaide, and he's a professional, so I need to be referred to him. And she basically refused to. She made me see her a couple times, and it started out with her just being like, oh, but you're a girl, your body's a girl, so maybe you might be intersex. Can I physically examine you and like see whether or not you have like ambiguous genitalia and things like that? And I was like, well, I'm not. I've never been tested, to be fair, but that's completely different to gender identity. And my gender identity isn't because I'm somehow intersex. What the fuck? And I refused, because I was like, fuck that, no way. And then as I was leaving, she was like, all right, then I guess I'll see you some other time, Lucas, and use my name that I'd said that was the name that I was going by in quotation marks to imply that it wasn't really my real name. And I left that, and I was a mess. I was distraught. It's something I've never actually spoken about openly on the internet. It's something I've never really spoken about personally because I just really shut off. That was my hope for my future. That, I'd be able to see this professional, get some help, that I wasn't alone, that I wasn't afraid, that it was fine, it was going to be okay. And she completely took that away from me, refusing to refer me to anything besides an endocrinology unit to get my hormone levels tested, and wouldn't refer me unless she confirmed that I wasn't intersex and that it wasn't because I was intersex. It really turned me off from going to see a doctor again. I was so afraid of the exact same thing happening, and I ended up reaching a breaking point where I had to see another doctor, and She was better, still wasn't great, but she was better. And then she referred me to the specialist, and then 9 months later, because he had a ridiculously long waiting list, I found this other specialist and got diagnosed right away. She stopped me from getting there earlier, but she also defeated me and made me feel so small that I was making something up, that I wasn't correct in myself, that I wasn't thinking about this properly. It made me never want to see a doctor again. And I'm so lucky that I ended up, I'm not lucky that I basically had like a breakdown. I needed to be referred to this person because I don't know what would have happened otherwise. But I'm lucky that I didn't let that experience completely ruin my experience with healthcare, because it nearly could have. And I still, to this day, have a little bit of resentment towards doctors who think that they know better than me about myself and my body. And that's happened a lot in the course of my transition. I'm sure lots of other trans people can relate. It can be really demoralizing having your agency taken away from you and having people believe that they know what's best for you. And obviously, people who are healthcare professionals, they have training, but a lot of the training in trans stuff isn't very experienced. And there's a difference between someone who is experienced in this and who is not. I want to be the doctor that I needed when I was 15 years old, when I walked in there, so distraught and distressed about my gender and about the changes my body were going through. And it took a huge amount of courage for me to go to that doctor's appointment, because when I first realized I was trans, I honestly thought that you couldn't live as a trans person. I thought that if I told anyone I was going to be trans, that I'd be locked up in some institution. I was 14 and scared. I'd never met a trans person before. I'd never seen a trans person before. I'd never heard of anything like this, and I thought that I was going insane. I honestly thought that I was having some sort of personality, and to be fair, this sounds rather ableist of me, and looking back, but I was 14. I'd never had any experience with this. I had no idea why I was so depressed and dysphoric and uncomfortable, and I thought that I was the only person who felt that way. When I finally found out that being trans was a thing, and that, I wouldn't end up losing my entire life, and that I wouldn't end up having to be locked up. I could start testosterone, I could have top surgery, I could have bottom surgery, I could live as a man. That could actually happen. That's a tangible goal. That's something I can do. And I need to see a doctor, and I need to be diagnosed, and that's what I need to do in order to get to that point. I was still so scared, and I still had the courage to do it, and I was so quickly shut down. And my glimmer of hope went away, and I didn't see another doctor for at least a year, and I didn't pursue anything for at least a year. And it's so sad thinking, I'm sorry, I'm getting a little bit emotional. It's so sad thinking how hopeless I felt, and how hopeless she made me feel. And that inspires me every day, and I study really hard, and I want to be a doctor, and I want to be a good doctor, and I want to be a doctor that trans people can go to, and they're not going to be made to feel that way. And I want to train other doctors in making sure that no one ever is made to feel that way ever again, because that's not okay, and it's not fair. It's so sad thinking back to how hurt I was, and how upset I was, and how frustrated, and how I had no one who could help. And I tried to find someone who could help, and the one person that I was told that could help me just didn't. And I want to make sure that that never happens again. I want to work my ass off to make sure that that doesn't happen to other trans people, because it's not fair. And sure, 5 years' time, a lot has changed. I don't think that it's as wide an issue as it was in 2012, but it's still an issue, and that's why I want to do what I want to do. I know firsthand how important good medical care is for trans people, and how scary and isolating it can be trying to navigate the system with no one who has any idea what the fuck's going on. I think that that's such a shame. I want to make a difference. I want to make a difference in accessibility. I want to make a difference in healthcare. That's what I want to do more than anything. And anytime I have any doubt that I don't know what I want to do, that rings right clear that this is what I want to do. This is what I'm meant to do. I'm meant to help people, and I'm meant to help people in a vulnerable position, like I was in a vulnerable position, and make sure that they feel comfortable and that they are able to move forward with their lives, and that they aren't alone and they aren't a freak, and you can be successful and you can be trans. I was so sure that that wasn't possible, and I was made to feel that way by my healthcare professional, and that's fucked. That's so fucked up. That's why I work hard, and that's why I study my ass off, and that's why, even though I'm trying to save money for surgery, that I didn't give up on university, and that's why I'm graduating with my bachelor's degree, and that's why I'm taking honors and doing the GAMSAT and trying to get into medicine. I don't care how long it takes, because I'm going to get there. That's my inspiration. My inspiration is seeing bad doctors, and also, in contrast, seeing great doctors. I have an amazing team of healthcare professionals now, and I see what a difference a good doctor has made to my life. Having good doctors oversee my treatment in like terms of my hormones, and you know, also like my emotional support in terms of making sure that I feel comfortable and that I feel safe, and that communication. I'm so grateful for them. I haven't really spoken about that for a very long time, and it's something that I still get very upset about. And you know, anytime I talk about it, I still feel the same stab in the heart as when I left that doctor's appointment and she used those quotation marks for me, and it sucks. But I know that it's taught me a valuable lesson that I am worth it. Trans people are worth it. We deserve adequate health care, and we deserve people who understand us and who will respect us, and I'm not going to stop for anything less. Anyway, I will see you guys next week. Bye.